There's a voice in your head that you've learned to live with. It's there when you wake up, before the world asks anything of you. It's there in the quiet moments, the pauses between actions, the silence just before sleep. And that voice, how it speaks to you, shapes everything, not just how you feel, but what you do, what you believe you deserve, how much risk you take, how much you allow yourself to grow. Most of us don't even realize the tone we've adopted toward ourselves. We speak to ourselves in a way we'd never speak to a friend. Harsh, demanding, doubtful, sometimes cruel. We beat ourselves up in the name of self-discipline, thinking that shame is a tool for growth. But shame never builds strong people. It builds fear, hesitation, and hollow performance. And yet we call it motivation. I've sat across from brilliant people who were stuck, not because they lacked skill or insight, but because they'd been talking to themselves in a way that made growth feel unsafe, like their own minds had become hostile environments. If the story in your head is always reminding you of what you're not, what you've failed at, where you've fallen short, then every step forward feels like a fight, not with the world, but with yourself. And the thing is, you can only go so far in that state. You can push, force, grind, but eventually something cracks, because the human spirit wasn't designed to thrive under constant self-attack. So what if, for just 21 days, you change the conversation? Not to ignore your flaws, not to pretend things are perfect, but to begin speaking to yourself with intention, with respect, with purpose. Imagine waking up and hearing this from yourself: I'm not perfect, but I'm growing. I'm not finished, but I'm showing up. Today isn't about proving anything. It's about becoming someone I trust. That's not fluff. That's a shift in how you view yourself, not as a problem to be fixed, but as a process to be honored. Talk to yourself like someone worth protecting, because you are, and if you did that, consistently, sincerely, for 21 days, something would start to change. Not overnight, but gradually your actions would start to match your belief. You'd take more chances, you'd recover faster from mistakes, you'd stop tying your worth to how productive you are, and slowly you'd become someone who no longer needs permission to belong. Think about how differently you treat someone you believe in. You give them space to fail. You encourage them when they're unsure. You remind them who they are when they forget. Now imagine doing that for yourself. It's not self-indulgence, it's self-alignment, because your brain listens, your nervous system listens. Every thought you repeat becomes part of your operating system. If you keep saying, I always mess things up, don't be surprised when you start avoiding opportunity. If you keep saying, I'm not like them, you'll filter the world through a lens of scarcity. And if you keep saying, what's the point, you'll lose your sense of direction before you even begin. The words you use when no one else is listening are the foundation of your inner world. And your outer world is built on top of that. I once spoke with someone who had been in recovery for over a year. She said the hardest part wasn't breaking the addiction. It was learning to talk to herself without judgment. She'd spent years equating struggle with shame, and every time she slipped, her inner voice would scream, "See, you'll never change." But the turning point, she said, came when she heard herself say, "This is hard, but I'm still here." That was it. A different sentence, a different tone, and it changed everything. Because sometimes the most radical thing you can do isn't to make a massive change. It's to shift the way you narrate your own experience. For the next 21 days, try this. Catch yourself. When your inner critic starts its routine, pause, interrupt it, replace it. Say something that honors your effort instead of punishing your imperfection. Instead of, I'm so behind, try, I'm moving forward one step at a time. Instead of, I never get this right, try, I'm learning something new every day. Instead of, I'm weak, say, this is heavy, but I'm still carrying it. That's not delusion. That's resilience. That's speaking from a future version of yourself who knows that growth is messy and strength isn't loud. It's steady. And if you think this doesn't matter, think again. Every leader, every athlete, every person who does something extraordinary has learned to master their self-talk. Not because they're immune to doubt, but because they know what to do when it shows up. They don't take every thought as truth. They don't let feelings become identities. They speak back. So let me ask you, what's the sentence you've been repeating that needs to die? What's the phrase you've accepted as fact, even though it's only ever held you back? And who would you become if, for 21 days, you replaced it with something true? There's no magic here. It's just attention. It's just discipline. The same way you train a muscle, you can train your mindset. The same way you choose what you eat, you can choose what you repeat. But it takes practice. It takes patience. It takes enough self-respect to say, I won't speak to myself like that anymore. And here's the beauty. Once your inner voice shifts, everything else begins to adjust. Your relationships, your boundaries, your energy, your willingness to be seen. Because when you no longer see yourself as broken, you stop showing up to the world asking to be fixed. And when you speak to yourself with truth instead of fear, you stop settling for scraps of validation from people who never understood you in the first place. Your voice matters, not just the one you use out loud, but the one you use in the dark when no one else is listening. That's the voice that builds your future. So for the next 21 days, let that voice be kind. Let it be honest. Let it be wise. Let it remind you not of who you've been, but of who you're becoming. And if you forget tomorrow, just begin again. That's the beauty of it. Every new day gives you a chance to choose a new sentence, and that sentence might just save your life.